you're not alone. Want to talk to today? Please contact Crisis Services Canada by either calling them at 1-833-456-4566 all hours of the day. Or you can text them at 45645 at 4 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Remember, you're not alone, and Crisis Services Canada is here to help.
The FHN network is sponsored in part by Hoddle Services. If you're looking for a disc jockey, karaoke host, video jockey to videographer, our company can help. With over 20 years of experience, we would be happy to help with your special event within Ontario, Canada. You can contact us at 226-988-2895 or visit us at our website at hoddleservices.vpweb.ca. That's HODDLE Services. We look forward to hearing from you and helping with your special event.
I gotta love that theme song. What's going on, everyone? And thanks for tuning in to Season 2, Episode 15 of Off the Puck Hockey on the FHN Network. I'm your host, Tyler Fines, and you can catch Off the Puck on Rogers TV Channel 20 every Saturday night at 9 p.m. You can also view our live recordings on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok as well, apparently. Apparently that's something we're doing now. So you got to check it out, Off the Puck Hockey. Just follow us for dates and times. Proud partner of our West Coast friends from ASTV as we join the fastest growing network in North America. Tonight, Mr. Styles is taking the night off, so Mikey Walker and I are going to take the reins and drive this ship. What's going on, buddy?
Not too much. Back to it for another week of work and closing in on playoff hockey here.
I know, actually, it's one of the big things we're going to discuss today, and I was kind of hoping Adam can make it tonight, but unfortunately he couldn't. So we're going to go over some of the playoff brackets and do our first round predictions because it looks like everything's pretty much set for the most part. So we're going to look at the matchups that could take place, and then we will try to pick the winners of the first round, and we'll write them down and see how we do over the course of the next few weeks once everything gets started. Obviously, it's a roundtable Monday, so it's just Mikey and I. We're freestyling it tonight. We're, again, looking at playoff picture. We're going to talk about player award predictions, all right? We're also going to talk about Canada at the U18 Championships, just absolutely rolling everybody and some of the young talent that's there. And again, let's just start out right away by looking at the playoff pictures. So right now, it's got a battle going right between the Leafs and Montreal. Leafs were up 2-1 so far. How are you liking that?
I mean, I was talking to Matt prior to you even getting on. I think that the Leafs beat Montreal, but I think they've got their hands full in a 4-7 series.
Could be. I mean, obviously right now they got Jake Allen in net. It's not Carey Price. I don't know how much of a difference that's going to make, but I actually think the Leafs are going to roll them, and I haven't said that in a long time where I think the Leafs are close to being one of the favorites to win this North, not just win this North Division, but get out of it pretty unscathed, I think. I think they'll have a couple tough rounds, but I don't think you're going to see anything go 5-6. I think they're going to clear this division.
I don't know. They call it the gentleman's sweep, right, where you got to give them at least a game. So,
yeah, no.
I think Montreal's, if they get Carey Price back, then it's going to be a better series than a 4 or 5 gamer.
Yeah, you know what? You could be right on that fact, but it looks like it's set in stone. I mean, Calgary's played 50, Montreal's played 50. So it looks like we're going to get, for the first time in a long time, a Toronto Montreal series. And that's a shame, with my uncle passing and being a Montreal fan and betting on games, like that would have been really awesome to experience with him. But I'm really excited about that Toronto Montreal series. I think Matthews, man, like he's so dominant. He snipes another one tonight. A beautiful tip. Like the guy's just dominating Montreal. So I just don't know who's going to stop him when he gets to the playoffs.
Yeah, no, that is a big question for Montreal is how do you stop that, at least that top line. And then you look into that second line for Toronto, and it's if they get rolling, they're just as comparable. So
yeah, I'm loving this Leafs team right now. And if you're a Leafs fan, you got to be happy. Like, this got to be the best team in the last 30 years. Top to bottom, Jack Campbell's playing absolutely out of his mind, which is exactly what we want. Right? It's exactly what we've been waiting for, is to give this opportunity. So we're going to stay on that just for a second. If the Leafs go out in the second round, is the season a failure?
To me, yes. I feel like it's the same with my Penguins, right? Like you're finishing in the first seed, you should at least get into what we would call the conference finals. And then there it's kind of at that coin flip point. Who's healthy, who's rolling.
I just don't know about the I just don't know about Pittsburgh. We're going to talk about them, and I'll tell you why I'm kind of on the fence with Pittsburgh. They got Malkin back, which is going to be huge. Just want to stick with the Leafs for a second.
Yeah.
I just think from top to bottom that Montreal just doesn't have the depth to beat them at the end of the day. I really think that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to goaltending, and it's going to come down to special teams. And it looks like the Leafs might have been able to figure out their power play woes over the last little bit. I would like to see them change their power play style. I think they kind of miss a guy like James Van Riemsdyk, who was able to take those pucks down low and jam home pucks from 5 feet. I think that was effective for them back in the day.
For sure, yeah. They definitely added the grit for down low presence, which that was a big gap that they needed to fill. But like you said, a natural bang-in goal scorer like James Van Riemsdyk, they kind of miss somebody like that.
And I said when they first signed him, Mitch Marner would lead the Leafs in goal scoring in a season, and right now he's up right now with 64 points. He's been in the top of the NHL all season long. I can't believe how many people absolutely discounted this kid. I said from the day one, the day I skated with him, and it wasn't, like I said, we skated twice. I remember calling my dad vividly, and I said, listen, this kid is one of the best players I've seen in a long time. I don't care how small he is. I don't care what they say. It was between him and Hannafin, and I remember when they took Marner, I said, this kid is the real deal. This kid is going to explode. And look at him now. Just unbelievable where this kid's come from.
You look back even to his London Knights days. He was the guy there. And you look at Matthew Tkachuk, who he played with. I mean, he's also a stud in the league, and who else? Christian Dvorak, I believe, was on that line with them. And I mean, he's in Arizona, and I think things within a couple years, you'll see him climb the ranks too in points.
Yeah, no, I'm intrigued. Like I said, he's so good, and I'm really proud of him for where he's at now. Everyone was hating on Tavares, but I mean, you got 46 points in 51 games. I don't know what anyone else expects. Is he underachieving for his contract at 46 points in 51 games?
I mean, he's
playing second line.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty well a point a game, right? I'm not sure whether he was battling injury a little bit on and off this year, but I think the value of the contract, it hurts the Leafs, which is why people are rapping on him so bad.
Zach Hyman gets above or below $6 million next year. Whether it's in Leafs or somewhere else, he gets above or below $6 million.
I say he gets over 6.
I think he's a bust. I think he's a bust.
Really?
I'll tell you, I think he's a bust. And it's not, and I'm not saying he's not a good hockey player. What I mean was I see signs of I just don't think he's going to be the same player on another team. I just don't see it. He's been giving so much opportunity on the most skilled hockey club in the league. So right now he's sitting at 33 points, 15 goals. Fantastic season. Proud of him. That's awesome. He's the guy I want. But I'll tell you something, man. Like, put him on another team. It's kind of like the Jason Blake thing. right back in the day. Scores what, 43 goals, 44 goals. They signed to a massive deal, and all of a sudden he's not producing where they think he's going to produce. It's almost like a Jeff Skinner year. Obviously, Jeff Skinner is completely offside. Saw that one coming, but I don't know. I see some contracts, and if he's going to be below 6, I think that's a smart play. I think anything above 6, you're really gambling with him.
Do you see a weaker team making that pitch to get him with a deal over 6, though? Right? That's
it. All again, the problem is we're not in the room, right? And what I mean by not in the room is that we don't know what people think about him in the NHL. We all know what the media thinks of him. They love him. He's gritty. He's grindy. But what do GMs actually think about him? Like, they're like, okay, when we're going to sign him for 6, we expect this, right? We expect this from him. But maybe there's another GM in the league that looks at him and goes, and sees kind of what I see, and I just don't see it. I don't see the $6 million. I think if you can get him for 5, I think if you get him for 4.5, you're getting a very good deal. And your expectations aren't going. Your expectations aren't going through the roof. But I just think the way the NHL is going, like, who could use a guy like Zach Hyman? Is it New Jersey? Who's got 10 million in cap space? Or you look at maybe Detroit sees Hyman as an opportunity to help grow that club and build. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, both those teams could use a player like Hyman for sure. I think you got to consider his leadership in the room as well, just by what we see, right? They all say it, but they're all say the right thing at the right time, and those young core guys that those teams have need a little bit of that.
Yeah, so you're losing Darren Helm at 3.8. Okay, so Darren Helm's 34 years old, hasn't been producing a ton over the last few years. Is Hyman the guy you go in and offer him 5? So that's a little bit of a pay raise, and he goes in there and can do everything on the wing, right? He's not a centerman. Darren Helm can kind of do everything, but he's 34. So there's a possible replacement. Varteli Flipula, he's 37. He's making 3. So there goes 6.8 off your books.
Yeah.
Right. So there's 6.8 off your books. So now all of a sudden that's a guy that I can see sliding in there. I really do believe that that's an opportunity for the Detroit Red Wings to add a skilled NHLer and not just quite wait for the draft, even though they got a ton of picks coming up here in the next, they got they got 1 through 6 next season. Yeah.
That's good. I think with Yzerman there and doing a solid rebuild with the Red Wings, you add in a player like Hyman, and then all of a sudden people want to play in Detroit again, which, Hockey Town, USA, it'd be nice to see.
I'd like to see Detroit come around, and I think they will. They got some good players there. Like Dylan Larkin, obviously, is the captain there. He's only 24 years old. He's got 3 more years left on his deal. But they still have some guys that they have to work out in their minor system to see if they're going to be a fit and see if they're going to be able to make that club. And like I said, if they're going to be sitting at the bottom of the barrel the next couple of years, you got Shane Wright coming, you've got Connor Bedard coming. I'm sure we're going to talk about them, and that little Russian kid. The Russian kid that's absolutely dominating the U18 worlds right now.
Yeah, it's crazy to see what some of these kids can do with the puck on their stick nowadays. It's a lot of stuff. Like, even when we played, it was lifting it was just the start of picking the puck up with Shrempy and those boys, and now it's on a whole different level where the puck's on their stick in the air more than it's on the ice for a move.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. So the gentleman, the Russian young man we're talking about is I don't even know how to say it, Matveev Mishkov. He's leading the tournament right now with like 9 goals, and he's in the same draft year as Connor Bedard. So these two kids are absolute game changers coming up the ranks. And then obviously you've got like I said, you got Shane Wright, who's going to be an absolute stud. Most of the Team Canada guys are going to go in the draft for sure. So it's pretty exciting time for Canadian hockey and some real talented guys from around the world making the jump into the NHL. Obviously, like I said, we're going to go quickly back and just finish up with the Toronto Maple Leafs right away. I Believe Joe Thornton may have signed another contract. I'm hearing rumors.
That I can't confirm. I wasn't able to hop online today and do my research.
I'm gonna have to look at that. I had heard in the back. I have heard in the background that that Joe Thornton may have, and even whether it's in the background or hasn't been released yet. I've heard through a little birdie that he may be back for another year. So again, whether that's true or not, it remains to be seen. But it is something that I heard through the grapevine. So just write that down. Talking to my contacts, and if I'm wrong, I'll be the first one to come on here and admit it the minute I find out that he's not resigning. So make sure you hold me. Make sure you hold me to it.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it.
What's that?
I'll keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, if we can do it, it'll be great. So so let's talk about that round then. So if you had Toronto and Montreal, where's my handy dandy pen here? Trust, we're going Toronto, Montreal. Who do you take in the first round? Are you taking Toronto or are you taking Montreal? How many games?
Got to take the Leafs, and I say they go in 5.
Toronto, Montreal. Leafs in 5. I like it. Next series will stay in the North. Might as well look at it. Is Edmonton, Winnipeg. I'm not sure how they're going to, if they're going to stay, in the same. Edmonton second, Winnipeg's third. But who do you like in that one? And who's going to be? Obviously, Connor McDavid and the boys have got a point to prove this season.
Yeah, I really like that series. I think it's going to be a good one to watch. I like Winnipeg just as much as I like Edmonton. But I'm going to go Edmonton in 7.
Ed in 7. We're going all the way. I think you're right. I think it's going to be Edmonton in 6. So I'm going to put this now. Walker. I'm going to take Edmonton in 6. I just think they're buzzing. I think they're going to score too many goals. I don't think Winnipeg. They scored only 5 goals less than Edmonton. I just think that McDavid and Draisaitl, I think they said enough's enough. I think this is the year that McDavid has just said, I'm the best player. Stop thinking about everybody else. I'm the LeBron James of hockey right now. I could win this stupid award, the Hart Trophy, every year.
Yeah.
So why are you talking about Austin? Why are you talking about Austin Matthews? I got 87 points. Like, he's in my rearview mirror. I'm sorry. Like, there's nobody else. There's me and there's the rest of the league. And it is what it is.
It almost seems
right?
to me like he's gotten faster over the last year too. Like, he gets those first 3 strides in a play, and then he's like literally doing this to see where a defenseman is behind him.
And like, just imagine with it's the same thing with like the talent level of the goalies, just making them look silly. Like 87 points, Leon Draisaitl have 71.
Yeah, that's a huge gap.
25 points ahead of Austin Matthews.
Yeah, it's a crazy
gap. Less superior team. That's the long and the short of it. That's a far less superior team depth-wise than the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's I don't know. I think goaltending comes down to playing that one. I know Hellebuck hasn't been playing great lately, and I mean Mikey Smith. You could put him up for that Masterson Award this year. I mean, obviously, a guy like Marleau is going to win for his games played, but I mean, he should be in consideration for that, I would say.
Yeah. Well, so we got those ones all worked out. So let's move down to let's go to the Mass Mutual East division where your boys play. Pittsburgh is at the top of the list, and looks like they are going to get Boston. That's a terrible opponent for you guys. I'm so sorry. I hope, you know what though? I'm sorry, but that you couldn't have asked for a worse opponent.
Yeah, I mean, I've watched their last couple games against Boston, and it's either Pittsburgh wins 1-0, 2-1, or it's a blowout the other way. So it's definitely up in the air who wins that series for sure.
Well, who's the difference maker in the series?
Jeez. I think you got to look at a guy like for Pittsburgh, I'd say you got to look at a guy like McCann, that third line guy. And I think on Boston, it's got to be their big 3 going.
I think that it's going to be a similar series to Toronto, and I think it's going to be Boston in 7. I think it's Boston in 7. I've just seen them too many times. Well, obviously with the Leafs, right? You just see them too many times. You just find a way to rise to the occasion. And the thing that a lot of teams didn't want to happen happened. the emergence of Taylor Hall. He's back. And
Yeah.
not only is he back, he's impacting teams. He's impacting the Boston Bruins. So now the question is what's the matchup? Is when Evgeny Malkin comes back, is he going to be – he's back now. Is he going to be effective before playoffs? I think with a bit of rest, he might be.
Yeah, I think Gino with a guy like him, he's pretty hokey pokey all year until it gets to that playoff time, and then he's one of those guys that just kicks it into that next gear every year. So I mean, I think he makes an impact for them for sure.
Well, I'll tell you something. They've scored a lot of goals, which is strange because I didn't think that they were a very good goal scoring team, to be honest with you. You know, they've popped 178 goals. 178 goals, which is pretty wild considering the fact that like they don't have what I would call a prolific goal scorer on the club. Like obviously Crosby's Crosby. Malkin's been out for God knows how long, yet they still have the most goals in the league. That's intriguing to me.
They have a lot of 8-7, 7-6, 5-4 games. So I mean it's
like Kasperi Kapanen's got 10. Gensel's got 22. Rusty's got 22. He's emerging as a good player. McCann's got 13. Kapanen's got 10. Like they've got guys that are just score goals, which is again, like I said, it's just not the team I thought would be the prolific goal scoring team that they are. I thought like a team like Washington, who's only got 3. He was only 3 goals behind them with a game in hand. But those are the teams that I expect to see up there. I think I see Pittsburgh scoring like maybe 150. But somehow they've decided that they're going to be the best offensive team in the league.
It's back to you look at a guy like Crosby and it's his standard, and I mean it's when he says, "Okay, boys, we're gonna pump in 5 goals tonight." When Sid says something like that, everybody's doing that little bit extra to pull through for a guy like him.
Yeah, I'm going to go Boston in 7, and I know you. Who do you got? You're obviously taking Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I'll go Pitt in 7.
Pens in 7. You know what? Do you think this could be the tightest first round of all time?
I mean, for how much they've played each other this year, you don't see that. I don't think you've ever seen that except for the original 6, right? Where you're stuck to just that division. So, I mean, the reads on each team are going to be so much better, so much tighter. I think it's going to be, 2-1 games where it's a mistake more than a scoring opportunity.
Makes sense. Okay, and obviously it looks like it's going to be a Washington Islanders final there. Again, this all could change. That's the one division where it's actually tight. I think it's going to be Pittsburgh, Boston. I could be wrong, but it may be Pittsburgh, New York. But again, that's the only division I see like a big change. But we're just going to predict that Washington's playing New York. And if it was Washington playing New York, who do you got?
I'm taking the Islanders in 7.
Ooh. Okay, I need to hear this. Other than the fact that you're like crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Islanders better. I just Washington to me is starting to get a little older, and I feel like maybe fatigue from the last couple seasons might kick in, like it did for Pittsburgh. They've had a couple deep runs, so I think the Islanders are also due for a run. So that's kind of where I'm going there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense. I'm actually going to take Washington in. I think Washington is 6. I think they. It's a tight. I think it's a tough series, but I think they go. I think they take them in 6. I don't want to spend too much time on Washington. They're annoying to me. All right, let's move to the Central. The Discover Central. We got Carolina, who's been a sneaky good team all year long. Their home record is gross at 18-3-4. Last 10, they're 7-0-3. Which is pretty wild. So they've won 3 games in a row, which is great. They clinched this. They've clinched. Tampa's clinched. Florida's clinched, and it looks like it's a battle between Nashville and Dallas. So a tough one there with Nashville with 58 points, Dallas with 55. I don't think that Dallas gets there. I hope they do and knock out Nashville, but I don't think they do. I guess we're going to see. So if we had a Carolina Nashville, who are you going with?
I got to take Carolina, and I'm going to say 4 games in that one.
You read my mind. I think that's a sweep as well. I think Carolina's just buzzing right now. Rod Brindamore is really done well with that team. Hasn't been extended. They're still talking. They're still discussing an extension with the club. And apparently he stated that you need to take care of my guys first if I'm going to be extended, which again, that's true leadership, and guys will, not just players, but your staff will respond to that.
100%. It holds so much credibility for a guy like him. I mean, he doesn't need the credibility, but it definitely shows the players that you care. And in a league like that, it goes that little bit more where you're going to have, Tara Vining lay down and block a shot for you instead of just trying to get in the way.
Exactly. And you know what? They're doing it all. You know what? They're close to the cap, but they're doing it with about $2 million less to the cap, which is fantastic. Aho was obviously a huge ad with that. Age 23, they've got him locked up. Jordan Stahl's got another 3 years there. Just a good all around hockey team, like top to bottom. It's a very good team. Great defense, and with Dougie Hamilton leading the way, he's a UFA next year. But obviously, like Jacob Slavin is taking a step. Jake Gardner has been excellent there. Like they couldn't have asked for a better guy to come over from the Leafs, and now he's there for another 4 years.
It's funny because Adam and I talked about one defenseman that they just added at the deadline there. We talked about him regularly through the season was Yanni Hakanpää. Solid stay-home defenseman, bangs bodies. He's got like 2 points, maybe 3, hovers right around even, and he's got almost probably, I'm going to say, 180 hits this year. Like
Jesus, it's a fantasy dream.
Exactly. He's one of those guys that, like you say, with a good defenseman, you don't even know who he is, but he's doing that job.
29 years old. Guy's Tim Thomas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Guy's unreal, dude. That's just absolutely amazing. And I agree with you. I think Carolina is good there. Tampa and Florida have been battling back and forth all year, tied with points. Florida, obviously under Coach Q, they finally bought into what he's been selling here the last 2 years. And they've got the team to do it. If you had to go Tampa, Florida, what are you taking there?
I think Florida knocks off the defending champs in 7.
Florida in 7. Okay. Is that just because of recency bias? Like you just think that it's time?
Yeah, I think fatigue. Just they're banged up from last year a little bit. I don't know what the status is on Stamkos, and I mean you got to look at Kucherov as well. When are they? I mean, obviously you have to insert those guys into the lineup whether they're buzzing or not. So, I think that Hedman's got to be tired by now. It just a lot of little factors. Vasilevsky didn't play over the weekend, trying to get him some rest.
How about the addition of Sam Bennett? 13 points in 9 games after being a scratch on arguably the worst team right now in the North Division, who are going absolutely south. Them and Vancouver Canucks. And I'm loving it too because I absolutely hate Canucks fans. So if you're a Canucks fan, you heard this. I love where your team is sitting right now.
Yeah, I picked him up in fantasy as soon as I saw he was traded, and it's been nothing but awesome for me. And he's been ranked in the top 10 since he's been in Florida, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's huge. Like that's a great pickup. That's just fantasy savvy right there. That's knowing your market.
Yeah, I mean, I got him for a decent drop too. Like I had a couple guys hurt, so it was, well, we'll give him a shot. Maybe that's the spark that he needed, right? It's just to get out of there.
Yeah. No, listen, it's a huge add to the offense in Florida, who was already thriving. But, with Huberdeau playing really well, he's leading the team in points. Barkov obviously having a fantastic year. They're basically point-a-game guys, a little bit higher, but, they, again, same thing as Carolina. They just have a top-to-bottom team that's got tons of good hockey players, really good players. Anthony Duclair's having a hell of a year putting up 31 points. guys like Alex Wenberg, obviously Yandel's having a hell of a year. You'd like to see his plus minus change a little bit, but I mean, at the end of the day, and then you just, who knows what happens in playoffs? Like, these guys are going to be fired up, and again, Tampa Bay's got to just remember that feeling of going to the finals. But I'm actually going to take Tampa, and I'm going to take Tampa in 6, and I think it's more of an inexperienced thing. The only difference I might see is Coach Q and having them prepared. And like you said, they may have played them might have played them so much. They may have played them so much that they've got an advantage.
Yeah, that's like Hedman's playing 28 minutes a game, and I couldn't tell you how many games Vasilevsky has started, aside from going in once in a while as well as from being the backup. I can't see how fatigue doesn't kick in at some point.
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's a tough one to predict, and I think a lot of people that are gambling would have a tough one choosing that. And again, I think you're not going wrong with 6 or 7 games in that one. And obviously down to the West Division with Vegas locking it up at number 1, possibly getting chased out by Colorado, but we'll see how that one goes. But it looks like it's going to be Vegas and St. Louis. St. Louis has 53 points. Arizona's on their tails with 50 points, but they've played 52 games, and St. Louis has played 49. And I just think St. Louis is going to get that Stanley Cup championship savvy back. So I could see a Vegas-St. Louis first round, which I'm excited about. Who do you got in that one?
I'm taking Vegas in that one, and I'm going to say it's a 4 or 5 games. We'll go 4.
I was going to go Vegas in 6. And the only reason the only difference is that, and where I think you actually are going to be right, is the fact that they've only given up 110 goals this year. That Fleury Leonard tandem with the defense that they've assembled there,
unreal.
They're incredible. They're incredible, and they've got depth from top to bottom. They don't have any holes. Like, they have 0 holes. The emergence of Mark Stone for them has got to be, is definitely huge. I think Shea Theodore putting up 41 points is obviously huge. Mark Stone's playing well. William Karlsson's taking a bit of a, he's not having such as good as a year for his contract. I mean, he's only got 34 points in 50 games, but I absolutely love Will. Hell of a Fortnite player, and Warzone player. So I'm never going to hate on my boy Will Karlsson. And then obviously, he just, like I said, you just can't find a weak spot.
Yeah,
you want to get beat up, Ryan Reeves comes over the board, or Tom, or Holden, or White Cloud. Like, these guys come over the boards and they're ready to go.
Yeah, 100%. You look up and down that lineup, like you said. I mean, like, if you had a hole, it's Ryan Reeves, but how much does Ryan Reeves actually play in a game?
Like, yeah, he's getting he's getting an average of 6 to 7 minutes at best. And then when he does, he's effective on the ice. And obviously people are, they're a little bit wary when he's on the ice, no question. But you've got to respect him when he's out there, because if you do something wrong, like, he's coming for you, and he's not scared of nobody.
No, exactly. He's I would say he's definitely the heavyweight of the league. And there's not many guys that do go out and look for him. So.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And you're right. I think that series is a Vegas series at the end of the day. I just don't think St. Louis has it anymore, but hey, you never know. Their goaltending kicks up. But I mean, like, the 9-1 streak they're on, the only thing you hope, and I always say this, is to get hot at the wrong time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And did you, right? And I hate to use the term, but did you blow your load early?
Yeah, no, that's right? Exactly.
Did you go early? Because, like, obviously, you get in those runs and you feel good and you feel comfortable. Then you lose 1 or 2, or you get a streak of losing going into the postseason, and all of a sudden the doubt is kicked in. The doubt's kicked in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it is always good to lose maybe 1 or 2 before you get in, but it's definitely good to be, a 7-3 or a 6-2 going in. Just so that way you kind of reality check yourself before you start.
Yeah. And last but not least, we've got the Colorado Avalanche, who are buzzing right now, and the Minnesota Wild. This is a tough one for me, because I didn't think that Minnesota was going to be very good. I'll be the first one to say it. I think I said at the beginning of the year I thought they were going to be last, but the emergence of Kirill Kaprizov has been unbelievable for them. I'm sure they didn't see that coming. right?
Yeah, no.
And they do have, and the thing is, they do have good goaltending. They got Cam Talbot, who's playing great, and you've got Capo Kakkonen, who's playing well as well, and they're both above a 900 save percentage. So that helps, and they're splitting games. So it's a really good tandem.
Yeah, they're definitely not fatigued. Where you look at the goalie on the other side and Grubauer, and he's playing more than he's not, obviously, with what they had in the backup position there. So they look solid goaltending wise in Minnesota. I don't know how much firepower compared to Colorado they actually have.
Yeah, I don't think so too. But if I had to call it, I'm going to go Colorado in 6. And I think Colorado in 6, just because they have so much skill. I think they're hungry for from what happened last year. I think if McKinnon is ready to explode for the playoffs, and again, I just think the inexperience from Minnesota may cause them to falter a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Colorado in 5 in that one.
Colorado in 5. So we got our predictions in. Predictions are in and really exciting for the playoffs here. Maybe a few changes, but I don't think we're going to see too much change. A couple things I wanted to discuss. I think before we go back into the NHL, I just want to talk about something that's pretty important. Unfortunately, a gentleman that I knew, I didn't know him very well. To say I knew him was through phone calls. Veteran junior coach was charged with sexual assault in Saskatchewan, Bernie Lynch. He's facing, assaults back to 1988.
Wow.
Again, I've only spoken. He's 66 years old. He's been in the game a long time, and he's claiming that it's a smear campaign. I don't know anything about it, but I mean, it's a pretty scary thought. I know he was with Fort Francis for the longest time on a pretty good freaking winning team. It's just so sad, right? It's just so sad to see that, and I hope, and I'm on the victim side on this one. Like, no questions asked. Like, you do not, you don't mess around with things like that and take sides. But we're sorry, you got to side with the victim on this one until he's proven innocent.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough topic to talk about. But yeah, it's you hope that everybody is able to seek out the help that they need in order to overcome a situation like that. And yeah, just in regards to the coach, like it's a tough thing, especially if he's saying it's a smear campaign. It's definitely a tough situation to be in.
Yeah, it's scary, and you're scary for the kids, and it's so important. And I try to tell young coaches, like, you can't text with players anymore. Like, you just can't. It's so scary, and again, if you're going to text with the player, you want to make sure that you've got another coach seeing the text. So then that way, if anything does come out wrong, I mean, we all have misinterpretation when we read a text message or send a text message or type something, and obviously autocorrect is awful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I sent a text the other day to a friend of mine, or one of my assistant coaches, and it autocorrected, and it said something, and I reread it, and she obviously knew right away, right? But it was, and she's a female, and it wasn't anything bad, but it was just something where she started laughing so hard because she's like, I know what you're saying, and I'm like, oh my god, I just reread the text, and I'm dying laughing too, right? And so, but again, if you send something like that to somebody else, or you write something in an email, it can come back to bite you in the ass, especially if the person doesn't like you.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's all how you word things, even if it's somebody's interpretation of the way your text comes in, right? It could turn out to be something very bad.
Yeah, it's scary. It's scary times, especially within the digital age, especially for the kids, right? So I hope those kids are safe and healthy, and I hope that situation works itself out there. But it's definitely scary when you read stuff like that. But we definitely needed to discuss it because it's important that people understand about the risks and who to talk to, and what, not everything in this game, or not everything in your social life is always rainbows and gumdrops, right? You got to be very, very careful out there.
Yeah,
right?
no, that's exactly it. Exactly.
One of my one of the websites I like to read is like the Junior Hockey News, and a lot of people hate it because it does promote. It's a lot of negative stuff sometimes, but they cover the leagues very well. It's been a while since they've posted anything on the death pool, is what they call it. And they talk about, pay to play hockey and leagues and teams dropping out. Obviously, with this pandemic, there's probably a lot of teams who are going to be going under. Do you see hockey in Ontario? Do you see every team coming back in the junior leagues, especially a league like yours?
I
Junior
would
team?
hope. Yeah, I mean, I hope that they're able to all come back. Um, However, I do see potentially a few teams dropping out just because they haven't had that what may be some fan support for funding. They haven't had that, so I mean, it's possible that teams do fold because of that. Um, I think you look at just looking at our division alone. I think everybody's pretty solid financially to return. So I'm happy about that for sure. Um, Players like you look at like player wise though, you've got a couple 20-year-olds who've sat out for now almost 2 years. Do they want to come back? They're probably out working at this point. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a little turnover with age.
Yeah, it might be a different. It definitely may be a different world when we come back. There's no question that the junior hockey world is definitely going to change, and and we're hoping we can get back behind the bench as soon as possible and start helping some of these kids, get back playing, because to be honest with you, it's just been brutal, and it's been brutal at home for a lot of people. I know it's been tough on myself and my family with everything going on, and we need this game. Like, we really need this game to. For our sanity, number one. Like, we really need this game to get back to give back to the kids. They got to get out of the house. I got to get out of the house, number one. This is more of a
Yeah,
me problem. I don't know if you've noticed. This is a me problem.
yeah, no, it's the same with me a little bit. It's been great being home to help the wife with the kids and more quality time with them. But just being at the rink, even when I was able to skate for that little bit of time there, just being there, it's just that whole different atmosphere. You're there with the guys. You just check out from reality, I guess, so to speak, and you're able to blow off steam.
Now, well, hopefully we can get back. But you know what? There is a group of players that are currently playing right now, and that is the U18 championships. Have you been watching any of the games?
No, I haven't caught any of it. Just highlights in the morning before I go to work, and I mean, I think it's an upset if Canada doesn't win the thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're by far the most dominant team, like top to bottom. Like, the Russian teams are very good too. I think it will be a Russian Canada at the end of the day. I think that's what it's going to come down to. But Canada's just so deep. Like I can't believe like how many good players are on that team, and some kids that aren't on the team that could be. But we got guys like Connor Bedard, 15 years old. He's got 9 points. Shane's only played 3 games. He's got 7 points. Like, I think if Shane had played all 5 games, he likely would be the point leader. I don't know if he's fighting something or if he's just trying to, if they're just trying to keep him healthy, whatever the case may be. But that team is absolutely dominant, and I'm telling you that this is the first time that I've watched this tournament when I don't see the first overall pick being I don't want to call him a bust, but there's only so many Connor McDavids out there, but you have 3 guys that are going to be elite players in the league coming through. The young Russian kid, Matvey, and then obviously Connor Bedard and Shane Wright. These guys are game changers for a lot of these teams.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, are they going to be a Connor McDavid or a Sidney Crosby right out of the gate? Probably not. But you look at a guy like Lafreniere, or even go back to like a Jonathan Huberdeau, and like Huberdeau's a guy where started out very slow with Florida, and now look at him, right? So I mean, he's one of the elite wingers in the league.
Is he though?
I would say he is.
Is he though?
Yeah.
Is he? Yeah, you. I guess you're probably right. I don't know. I still don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know. I guess it all depends on where you believe guys when they go first overall, or where you think they are, that what they should be as an NHL player. Don't get me wrong. At 5.9, 27 years old, he's done a hell of a job. No questions asked. Right? You can't deny that. This year he is having a good, there's no question, 58 points in 53 games. Last year he had 78, 92. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take that back. You're right. He is an elite winger in the league. I will take that back. He's just not an elite goal scorer, and I guess maybe just because he plays for Florida, he doesn't give enough credit. And so I'll be the first one to admit that when I'm wrong. So I'll admit I'm wrong. You're probably right. He's probably right. He is 100%. Yeah, so like I said, with the junior championships, I could definitely see Canada going on. I mean, you got to watch some of these games. They've been absolutely incredible. Obviously, Canada puts on a rout today, winning 10-3 over the Czechs. It really is. It's been crazy, the blowouts. I mean, we're looking at 11-1 Russia over Czech, Finland 10-0 over Germany, Sweden 7-0, Latvia 7-0, like 12-1 over Sweden. Like, I get it's the U18s, and a lot of these U18 kids that are actually playing in Sweden, they're playing with their pro clubs. I don't think they're playing with the national team.
Right. Yeah, that's a big factor for those teams, right? Like they're playing at their Premier League over there, so it kind of definitely takes away from their U18, U20 programs.
Yeah, and like it's just been there's been such big blowouts, and I'm kind of hoping that eventually that you see like the Switzerland, Latvia, and all them get a little bit more competitive at that age. But I understand it. Obviously, Canada, we put so much emphasis on our junior hockey, and like our previous guest Gil had said, like it's not the norm in international competition, and that's why at the Olympics it's a little bit closer, because obviously all the pros are now coming back to play for their country. So I'm looking forward to a really nice semifinal game here between looks like it's going to be Sweden's up right now 1-0 on US. So US has had a little bit of a tough go this tournament. And again, I don't think their U18 program is as strong as Canada's. And again, that doesn't mean they don't have everybody over here as well.
Yeah, they usually have a pretty good program running right up from U17, U18, U20. So I mean, to see them drop off a little bit, it's interesting to see.
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't think there's a ton of I don't think they've got their 18 there. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think they've got all of their 18 there. But again, I would like to see the U.S. be a little bit more competitive in this tournament. But I guess we'll wait and see tonight as they finish their semifinal game. Outside of that, my friend, it's been we got a lot of trophy winners. A lot of the NHL awards are almost upon us, and I want to talk to you a little bit about who we think is going to win some of these trophies. So if you had to pick the Hart Trophy winner right now, I'm pretty sure it's Connor McDavid.
Yeah, it's definitely Connor McDavid. I don't know how or who you would give it to outside of Connor.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's got to be Connor. I think it's got to be Connor McDavid. And what about the Vezina? This is a tough one. This is a real tough one to call this year.
I'm going to go Grubauer.
Grubauer?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with for it.
So who's runner up?
Vasilevsky.
Vasilevsky's runner up? Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
I'm going Grubauer for the Vezina.
Grubauer for the Vezina. Okay. We got a tough one right now. Norris for best defenseman.
Yeah.
Best D-man. This is a tough one this year too. There's a lot of really good defensemen out there.
Yeah, I got to think on this one a little bit. I mean, obviously Hedman's in the conversation.
How about
Um,
Adam Fox from the Rangers? 47 points. Teams out of the
Adam
playoffs.
Fox.
How do you feel about teams that have a guy in the top that is not in the playoffs?
I mean, if you're doing these awards on personal best, I guess we could call it, right? Points wise, usually for the Norris, right? I mean, how do you not give it to the guy who had the most points as a defenseman?
I think I always thought that they should change the award. I think it now should be best defensive defenseman and best offensive defenseman. I really think the game has changed that much because of the dynamics and how the game is being coached with that defenders getting up the ice and into plays and actually acting like a fourth forward. I think they need to consider it. I think it's time. I think this is probably the year if you're going to do it to, hand out hand it out for the final year. But as of next year, it's time to look at the offensive defenseman, and you're going to have, and that should be the Bobby Orr Award. You should have the Bobby Orr Award and the Nick Lidstrom Award.
Yeah, I mean, I like that idea. I've always said, the best defenseman is one that you never hear about. So, I mean, they're pretty steady on the back end, and they shut down the top line, and they maybe finish the year off with 3, 4, 5 points.
I think they have to consider it. I think it's time. Like there's no shame in doing it. It doesn't hurt anybody. It adds an extra award, and I don't know what else. Like I said, I think it's a great idea. I know it's my idea, so of course it's a great idea. So of course we're going to do that. But I think it's time though. I think it's time that we reward players for their strong play in the D zone. I think it's time. I think it's time. Top coach. This is a good one. This is a tough one. There's a lot of guys deserve it.
Yeah, I like Coach Q, but I also like where Brendan Moore is at with things in Carolina.
I think it has to be. I think it's gotta be DeBoer. I think it's gotta be DeBoer in Vegas. And the reason I think it's DeBoer in Vegas is because he's got a good team, don't get me wrong, but he's kept that team near the top after they fired Gallant. He brought them back and he's got them playing pretty well. And he's never been in the running for it. This is a pretty good opportunity for him. Obviously, Brendan Moore is up there, no question, with the team he's got finishing first. I like your prediction of I like Coach Q. I like Coach Q as well and what he's done with Florida.
Yeah.
I just think it's DeBoer. And you know what? Even Sheldon Keefe. I mean, you got to make the players run. Like that, they did turn over a ton of players, if you think about it. You lost Tyson, Tyson Barrie, gone. Kapanen, gone. Johnson, gone. Like 3 impact players off your roster. You bring in 2 of the old, Joe Thornton, the oldest player in the league. You still have Spezza, who's absolutely buzzing. Yeah, so Spezza still pulling up points. And Wayne Simmons has been effective when he's been out there. I think you got to talk Sheldon Keefe's got to be up there.
Yeah, for sure. I would think he's in the mix with that. Like you said, he's got a lot of talent and he's mixed it up well from top to bottom.
Okay, so we got that one out of the way. As you say, goal scorer, it looks like it's gonna be Matthews. Matthews gonna run away with the Rocket Richard Trophy, which is fantastic. Yeah. That's great to have a Leaf win. I don't think they've ever had a Leaf win the goal scoring title.
Probably not since I'm gonna go as far back as like maybe Sittler won it.
Did he have the most goals though in the league?
I don't know. That's what I don't know. Right, I don't know.
That's an interesting one. I'm actually just quickly looking it up because I am curious to see about about the goals. Ace Bailey won it back with 22 in 1928. I don't know if we're going to count that one. Charlie Conacher won it back in the day. That, like, let's say in the modern era. Let's get back to let's get going here. I actually the article only goes to 98, unfortunately, but I can tell you from 98, the last time a Toronto player won it was 1937.
Wow.
So, and I'm assuming, and this is a big assume because they're so crap, is between 1998 and 2017. I don't remember one.
No.
Right?
Yeah. No, I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you, guy.
Unbelievable. Yeah, just crazy what he's been able to do with this hockey club. Really impressive, and like I said, I'm glad he's on our team. There's no question about that.
And it's crazy how many people thought that Line A was better than him at one point in time.
Well, when you come out of junior, I mean, he's done so well. Like, and I mean, Line A's been, he was playing with Winnipeg, and I mean, it all depends on your coach, depends who you play with. Now, Austin Matthews, again, another kid I had the pleasure of skating with when I was, when he was just about to break into the league, and same thing, like you just see him on the ice, and like, this kid's incredible. This kid is incredible. He's going to be a game changer. He wants it. He's got the swagger about it. He's got the family behind him. Line A's. I hate to say he's a European. Right? They come from Europe. There's a lot. It's not as easy to come play here. I bet you he'd be a stud in the K.
Oh, for sure he would be. Yeah.
Right. And maybe the right situation for him. You know what? Maybe the right. Like, think about it. He's played for Paul Maurice, and now he's played for John Tortorella.
Yeah. There's not too much of a leash to be creative with either.
And no personality. Right?
Yeah.
No, that's not fair to say. That's not fair to say because John Tortorella is a very personable person. He's a humanitarian. He's a fantastic human. He's just a very hard-nosed, it's my way the highway coach.
Yeah. He's very old school. That's all it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I have a feeling he's on his way out, which is a shame because obviously winning the winning Coach of the Year last year was a huge accomplishment for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I would hope that he gets another shot somewhere else, that he's able to continue on from Columbus.
Well, if Travis Green keeps it up there in Vancouver, that's where he's going to end up.
Well, yeah, be a second trip there, wouldn't it?
Hey, well, they gave Sutter a second trip, and what did I say? I even tweeted it. Coaches have 5 games. That's your penny. That's your shiny penny. You're the new penny coming in. You have 5 games to establish yourself in the room, and your 5th game will define you as a coach. And wins the first 3 games. Everyone's like, he's turning it around. I said, yeah, he hasn't got there yet. Now look at them.
Yeah.
Absolute shambles. And I don't think they can bring them back.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, right? Like,
they're 6-4. They're 6-4 in the last 10. They've got an overrated hockey team, which I've said from the beginning.
Very.
Extremely overrated.
I had them making the playoffs at the start of the year.
You know what? I did too. There's no question. But like, if Elias Lindholm is your leading goal scorer, you got problems.
Yeah.
You got problems.
Yeah, I feel like a guy like Monahan's kind of fallen off there. Like,
never that good. He was never that good. I'm sorry. I've never been a Sean Monahan fan. I don't understand where people saw it. I don't understand how people saw it. I don't, man. I just don't get where everyone thought that he was going to be this prolific player. Like, don't get me wrong. He's 439 points, 589 games. He's a -31.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that doesn't mean anything to me. That means nothing to me. Okay. That doesn't mean he's not like. And again, I don't want to knock him because Sean Monahan at 439 points. I've never scored that. There's a lot of NHL players that would die to score 439 points. I just don't think he's as effective as he needs to be. I've just never thought that about him. I don't know why. I just didn't like. I've just never liked his game.
Same with Johnny Gaudreau though too. Like he's having a
dude. Anytime a kid comes out of NCAA hockey and is praised as an elite kid, I will argue that till the death.
It's a totally different. It is a totally different game.
Yep, I'll argue to the death, brother. I'm not an NCAA guy. I think they produce I think they produce fantastic hockey players. I don't think they build winners. Just my thought. And we're gonna have to leave it at that thought, buddy, because it is our show. But I always get the last word. You know this. But I want to thank my man Mike Walker for coming on tonight, having a round table, a good back and forth. Really enjoyed that hour. Off the Puck can be seen every Saturday night at 9 p.m. on Rogers TV Channel 20. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Off the Puck Hockey. I'm your host, Tyler Fines. With me, as always, my boy Mikey Walker, the ghost of Adam Styles somewhere in the background, our producer Matt Huddle behind the scenes making the magic, and of course Marty Zylstra for providing the theme music. This is Off the Puck Hockey. Let's go.
Make sure to check out our past shows from previous weeks on our YouTube, Facebook, or Mixcloud channels. You can always catch up on podcasts while checking out our FHN Network channel on YouTube or Facebook. Or you can listen to an audio copy of our past shows on our Mixcloud channel at FHN_Network. The FHN Network, the future of entertainment.